Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're looking at the new Rambo movie, Last Blood. I bet a lot of you didn't even know there was a new Rambo movie. I know I certainly didn't. I only knew this was coming out because I check new movies every week, and I saw Rambo was coming out on Thursday last week, and I was like, wait, that's weird. That's Rambo. That's a pretty powerful franchise, and I hadn't seen a single preview for it, and I go to the movies once a week, and I hadn't seen anything, which is really surprising to me. And I know action movie heroes, action stars, kind of a thing of the past, which is a goddamn shame. We still have a couple like John Wick and, well, I guess just John Wick. He's like the last action star. I guess I can't even think of another one, like maybe the Fortnite default character. I have no fucking idea. But even still, I figured Rambo would be kind of a big deal. And it really wasn't. I went opening day, and it was in the smallest theater they had available. It's just disrespectful to my boy Rambo. But anyway, the marketing campaign sucked ass, and I got a shit theater for it, but whatever. Since I went into this without seeing a preview, I didn't know if this was going to focus more on the emotional side of Rambo's journey trying to settle down, have a normal life, or more on like an ultra-violent gore fest type of deal where there's assholes being turned inside out, blood and rock and roll flying everywhere. I didn't know what approach it would take. It turns out it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Both are done decently enough. The latter being much better. The ultra-violent gore montage at the end is superb. I really enjoyed that start to finish. It was a lot of fun. The kills were very creative and very brutal, which I was very happy to see. And that's not to say the emotional stuff wasn't done decent. It was good. I thought the cast of characters around Rambo were good, and Rambo himself was alright. This thing is, with Rambo, his character is supposed to be so damaged and, you know, he's gone through all these horrible things, but that leads to some really awkward scenes in this movie where something really bad happens to someone he cares about a lot, and what he says and what he shows vary greatly. There's a huge disconnect. Something horrible happens, he says, shit, I'm real sad about this, but the way he's acting, it's just so goddamn stoic, as if he's not even there, as if someone was just holding up the line on a piece of paper and he read it. It's just odd. It just feels odd, and it makes the scene awkward, which takes the emotional aspect out of some of the shit that happens. Now, when Rambo's not in the emotional scenes, they're pretty good. And I don't think it's his fault or anything like that. I think that's just supposed to be how the character is, but it still makes it feel odd to watch it happen. And it makes the audience feel a bit awkward, because it's like, well, what is he really feeling? Does he even care? And then he goes into this fucking doomsday prepper mode where the second half of the movie's all about revenge. And he's got this entire fucking Home Alone booby trap setup going around his entire barnyard. All of his property has been outfitted with the latest and, well, not really the latest and greatest, but the most haphazardly thrown together contraptions, some codename Kids Next Door gadgets hanging from walls, shooting laser beams and shit, blowing assholes up all over the place. The revenge aspect of this movie is a lot of fun. It's just really mindless gore fun in like a really confined space where Rambo is taking out dozens and dozens of people, and you see each and every one of them, and you get to see all of the little traps that you have, like a 5-minute montage of him setting up. You get to see each and every one of them played out, which is cool. It was a lot of fun to watch all of those unfold. It has a very satisfying conclusion, and all that was done well. Leading up to it, though, it had a really major problem of time. It's impossible to know how much time is passing in this movie because it's so fucking jarring, the jumps it takes. For instance, Rambo gets his ass beaten. He ends up in an ass-beating induced coma, and a character saves him, and he's crashing on her couch. Now, he's in and out of this sleep, and in one scene, the girl that saves him leaves the house, and the next scene she comes in, and Rambo's swollen eye and cut-up face is completely healed nearly. And then he says, how long has it been? She says 4 days. But you have no idea, because all of a sudden, she walks out, she walks in, and he's done like a fucking quick change artist thing, and he's in perfect health all of a sudden. That happens a couple times. An incredibly major character gets killed, and then as all of the other characters around them are mourning and stuff, it all stops like that in the next scene where everyone's moved on, and they're ready to just go about the rest of the movie and forget about it. Well, not forget about it, but move on from it. They've all had their time to mourn. They've all now moved on and gone other places, moved around, and it's all changing, and it's apparently been like a fucking month. You don't know how long it's been, because one scene something happens in the next scene with nothing really leading into each other. It's in a totally different state of mind for every character, and something totally different has happened. It's just really odd to keep track of how much time is passing. It's not that huge of a deal, I suppose, because it makes the plot move along much faster, and you get to the fucking kills really quickly, which it was really setting up towards for the whole movie, which was nice, but it still makes it a little odd to watch it unfold in that way. Now, I'm going to plug this shit into the moist meter. I'm giving Rambo Last Blood a 65%. Now, I want to talk about another thing I had a problem with, but it's a spoiler. So this will now be a spoiler. So the movie's about his niece getting kidnapped and sold into sex slavery. She ODs and she dies in Rambo's car. What the odd thing about this is Rambo saved her, put her in the car, and drove her across the border to bring her home. What I don't understand is why wouldn't Rambo take her to a hospital? He knew she was ODing. He saw it, and yet he's still driving in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, bringing her to a goddamn dilapidated barn in the middle of nowhere for no reason. Well, not for no reason, to get her out. But why wouldn't he stop for a hospital to take care of the overdosing problem that she eventually dies from? He had to have crossed the border. He had to gone by civilization at some point, and he didn't make a single stop to get her help at a hospital in the area, which I just don't understand. And maybe maybe the problem is with time. I don't know how much time it passed from him saving her to her dying on the road. Maybe he was still in Mexico and he never got out, never left, but I really couldn't tell in the movie, and that was just a kind of big deal because I feel like he could have saved her and everything would have been fine. The movie would have ended right there. It wouldn't have been a happy ending because a lot of bad shit happened to her, but it wouldn't have gone further, which would have been a shame because the kills and everything were great, but it just, from a plot perspective, made no sense to me. But again, the movie was enjoyable. I liked it, especially the end. It's just a lot of the stuff in the beginning was a little confusing, and it didn't do anything incredible, nothing, overly creative. It was all pretty generic and by the books, but it worked. It worked well enough, and I really like to see Rambo in action. That's about it. See ya.